function, we may use a sixth potency. If we have problems with constitution, with how we were born into this world according to the inheritance from our genetic line, we would use a 30th potency for our constitution to change the things that are common. Things like allergies, things like digestive problems, things like skin problems, things like chronic headaches or reoccurring infections. But if we have problems that are related to mental function, then I have developed, and this is unique to homeopathy, I have developed a series of high potency remedies that are used for mental enhancement. In other words, by using remedies that are a 200 potency or a 1,000th potency or even a 10,000th potency, that meaning that that substance was diluted 10,000 times. And we are not dealing with any form of substance, but the expansion of energy, which works in the outermost energy bodies to change the way our brain functions. We can actually improve certain skills, such as math ability, such as self-confidence. We can get rid of paranoia. We can get rid of many problems that are related to personality. The alchemical formula works mainly on inherited things that have come through the human race that are not necessarily your own genetic line, but the things that have developed for human beings in general, so that we can restore functions that we should have had centuries ago and improve our ability to process information and to see the world as it should be. So all homeopathic remedies are chosen for what they will cause in the like cures like principle. Now, how that works is that remedies are proved. And a remedy is proved by a person who has no symptoms to speak of, who will take a potentized remedy until symptoms occur. So then we know what symptoms that substance will cause. And the symptoms that a substance will cause is then recorded in books called Materia Medicas. Now, there are many Materia Medicas in the practice of homeopathy. And these are lists of remedies and the symptoms they will cause. Hahnemann wrote a Materia Medica. Clark wrote a Materia Medica. James T. Kent, who was the prominent homeopath in the United States in the 1920s, has a Materia Medica. Probably the most common one is Borikes. He was a professor at UCLA in the 1920s, before the American Medical Association shut down the schools. His Materia Medica is a handbook that is used most commonly by most homeopaths. When a client expresses that they're having symptoms, we try to match their symptoms to the symptom complex that are written in the Materia Medica. And when we find a match, we know that that remedy is going to relieve their symptoms. So there is a document called the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the United States. And in that Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the United States is a list of all the remedies that have been proven for what they will cause and have been proven to be free of side effects. And as long as a remedy or a substance is in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the U.S., it is legal in the U.S. All of the remedies in my alchemical formula are listed in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the U.S., which makes it completely legal. So, homeopathic remedies are not tested. They are proved. If they are in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, they are completely legal, which is entirely different than the chemical substances of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals have to be tested, and people will take them in studies to see what the side effects are. Well, homeopathic remedies are known not to cause side effects because there is no substance. There is no side effect with a homeopathic remedy because you're not taking a material substance. The substance has been proved for what it will cause and that it is completely free of side effects. Provings are not side effects. When you take a homeopathic remedy, you may have an aggravation. An aggravation means that your symptom may get worse, but it will go away when your energy bodies cure the problem. And aggravations will never stay with you. They do not, homeopathic remedies do not cause side effects. You will experience aggravations perhaps, but you will not experience side effects. And aggravations are always short-lived. I'll give you a good example. When I was working at Capital Drugs, a young man who was Italian came into the store. He was here in Hollywood, in West Hollywood, because he was trying to be an actor. But he wasn't being very successful. But he had problems with recurring migraine headaches. And these were really severe migraine headaches. And he'd had them all of his life. And during the process of developing the migraine, he would go blind, completely blind, couldn't see anything for about half an hour. And then when his vision would come back, he would have a stomach upset and he would have to vomit. And after that situation, his headache would come on, which was a horrible pounding headache. And it was very debilitating to him. So he came into Capital Drugs, explained to me what his situation was. And he was really desperate because he had been driving on the freeway when one of these blind episodes occurred and he was really concerned. So I analyzed his symptoms, matched his symptoms to a remedy in the Materia Medica, sold him the remedy and told him to take it for only 3 days. You take it for only 3 days in a 30th potency. He came back a week later to tell me that he had experienced mild aggravations. When he had taken the remedy, he saw his vision cloud, but he didn't go completely blind. His stomach felt upset, but he didn't vomit. His headache started to come on, but it didn't last very long. After that, he was completely symptom-free, and he did not have another headache. He had to leave the U.S. because he wasn't an immigrant, and he wasn't making it very well in Hollywood. So he went back to Italy. 3 years later, he came back. And he came back to tell me that he had never again had a migraine headache. He had been completely symptom-free. So some of these stories are very gratifying. And for 25 years, I have helped people get rid of their symptoms. And it has been a very gratifying lifestyle, and I've enjoyed a lot of it. But the future I see is very bright because of some of the remedies that I'm developing that are going to be important for a lot of people. Because homeopathy, like I was saying, in the 1920s, homeopathy was shut down in the U.S. It's so well known in every other part of the world. There's a huge school in the British system. The French have a very large and well-known homeopathic school. Some of the best known among homeopathy is the Indian and Pakistani schools, where I was fortunate to study. But in the 1920s, the very powerful Rockefeller family decided that they were going to invest in pharmaceuticals. And they convinced the American government to shut down the homeopathic schools and to put money into the conventional medical system and the pharmaceutical companies. And those remedies stayed on the prescription-only list and completely obscure in the U.S. until 1989. Well, in 1989, when I came back to California to practice homeopathy, 1989, I came back to California from Pakistan with a degree in homeopathy, looking for a way to do homeopathy, and no one in California knew what I was talking about. Nobody knew what a homeopathic remedy was. Nobody could buy them anywhere. So I tried to become a teacher. And I was a substitute teacher for a few years. And then in 1995, I went to work for Capital Drugs. And because Capital Drugs was well known as a homeopathic pharmacy, it was actually started by a pharmacist who had been to Europe and noticed that in pharmacies in Europe, you can buy homeopathic remedies alongside pharmaceuticals, and he was the first to put together a homeopathic pharmacy in LA, and I was their homeopathic pharmacist for 5 years. And it was during that time